making his money. They're top 5 offensive rated, defensive rated, rebound percentage over the last 5 games. I would take Brooklyn in this one.
All right, going to lean Brooklyn. Talk to me, Phony Finn. How you looking at this Indiana team here tonight?
Well, Kevin Durant's out, so I'm going to probably pass on this game.
Okay. And
no, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Listen, I agree with you. That is, let's be honest, Indiana is ever since Home Depot back up, they've been bad.
Yeah,
they've been bad. So you got to show. I come from a state close to Missouri. Show me, I'm there.
I don't even know what you picked there. Was there a pick somewhere in there? I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, there was.
Okay,
the
good.
Pick is don't touch this game.
Don't go
near. Wait till somebody's back in form here.
All right, so forget that game. That's the bottom line. Okay, that game is on the back burner. We're moving past here, guys, and we're going to Atlanta, Orlando. I mean, might this be one of these plays, Rob? I mean, you're talking about Orlando. It took the Knicks to a couple of overtimes there last night. Now they're in Orlando tonight. I see 6.5s. Actually, I'm sorry. I see 8.5s up from 6 here. The total is 220.5. How you looking at this one here tonight?
Yeah, you could make contradictory arguments on both sides here, Joe, because first of all, who wants to lay 8.5 or 9 with the Orlando Magic, which has been an absolutely lousy team lately? I show them 2-10 against the spread in their last 12. We know they're not very good offensively, so for them to win by double-digit margin is asking a ton from the Orlando Magic. However, the other side of that coin is what you mentioned. Atlanta, they get Trae Young back yesterday. They get DeAndre Hunter back, and then 4 of their 5 starters, including those 2, have to play over 45 minutes in that contest. So it's a lot of wear on those 2 guys in back-to-back situations. You add to that the fact that Atlanta's 0-5 back-to-back on the road, and you can make a halfway decent case for Orlando, but I don't know that I'm going to buy into that and lay that type of price with the Magic. The Atlanta Hawks have become an over team once again recently, 7-2 over the total their last 9. There's so many arguments back and forth here that it becomes really tough to even make any type of play. DeAndre Hunter might not go here.
Right.
I think if you're looking at this game, if it's close at halftime, what I would do is play Orlando second half, figuring that fatigue will set in second half for the Hawks. But other than that, I can't think of a good way to recommend in this game.
All right, let's go, Ski. What are you going to do? You recommending a fade against Atlanta here, or what are you doing on the road?
Man, it's very tough because of how bad Orlando's been, but that double overtime, I think that's too much for Atlanta. They're already bad on the back-to-back as it is. They're 2-7 against the number on the second of a back-to-back. And then we know Orlando hasn't been playing well lately, but they beat up on these lesser teams. I know out of this stretch of games, they played a lot of better teams, I want to say. So against 45% win teams or less, they're 13-8 against the number. I would be looking for Orlando to get back in form tonight and cover that number.
How about it, Tony Finn? You trust Orlando in this spot at home?
No, I don't. I don't trust him in the spot. I wouldn't trust him if you told me that they were playing. That the handicap was that whoever they're playing could only use 4 starters.
Really?
Not if you're laying 10, but almost double digits. No,
okay.
I mean let's the odds makers really
have the spread was 6.5.
It's 8.5. It's now 8.
It's 8 now.
Yeah, it's up to 8.
Yeah. I'm stretching a little bit. Leave me alone, okay?
Okay.
Here's the deal. I've said it on the show a million times, and that is, there's a time and a place to play Orlando, and you play Orlando, especially at home, against teams that you would put in their container, which is middling at best, right? 8.5. Orlando's 16-7 as a favorite this year, straight up. So. That's different, obviously, than laying 8.5, but they're also fairly good against it. I mean, they're a little above 500 against the number as a favorite. This is a perfect spot for Orlando. Steve's, Rob said it. He gave you the numbers off no rest. However, 8.5 is just too big, guys. I like Atlanta moving forward the rest of the season much more than I like Orlando. They've been pretty bad lately. Even they've played some good competition, but Joe, If anything, I would be on Atlanta tonight, but I'm not going to be on Atlanta under the circumstances. So how about the under, though? It's a big number for Orlando. 220 is a big number for Orlando.
You know, guys, that sounds like a Tony Finn fire pick. That's what it sounds like to me. That is a Tony Finn fire pick. That's it, man. We're going.
That's Tony. That's me getting some airtime when I don't have a pick.
Tony Finn on fire, people, is what we're talking about. All right, guys. Finn is. I got to tell you, man. That's the most excited about a pick I've heard him in a while. So I think I'm gonna jot that one down and make sure I fade it. Let's move on to another game here. We've got the and I don't know what the
after the show. After the show, I'll ask you what we're fading so I can join you.
Exactly correct. How about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Toronto Raptors, who have now won 14 in a row here, guys? That's 14 in a row. I don't know if they'll ever lose again. I'm not sure if D'Angelo and Rob, I'll turn to you. I'm not sure if D'Angelo is going tonight, if he's not, or, I mean, when we get everybody on the floor at the same time, you know, I got to feel like they can score with just about anybody, right? I mean, at some point, Toronto's going to lose a game, aren't they?
Not necessarily. Yeah, and they didn't cover the other night, right? Against the Nets, they had a lead, and then the Nets won the fourth quarter and got the cover, only lost by one. While Minnesota was throwing 142 up against the Clippers. So that was a big night for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it broke that 17-game losing streak that Karl Anthony Towns had been involved in, and he finally won a game.
Yep.
What was interesting about that game, Joe, is the revamped Minnesota lineup. All 5 starters were in double digits. I think the lowest score in that game was 14 points. Malik Beasley from Denver took over as the point guard for this team. But I'm with you. Right now, the question mark still sits next to D'Angelo Russell. And if he were involved here tonight, I don't think I would mind taking the points with Minnesota against Toronto in what's guaranteed to be an up-and-down type game because, again, no matter what players Toronto has on the floor, they love the transition game. They've been going over at a rapid rate as of late. Total here in this game probably gets me to the window. I think I'm trying to get the current right now. It's been bet all the way up to 230.5, which probably is losing value by the second because it started at 227. But I'd rather wait on D'Angelo Russell. I would say this. If Russell plays, I'm not against taking 9.5 with Minnesota.
All right, and we got Frozen Rob. So let's go right over to let's go to Ski. He said he didn't have a problem with. So let's go, Rob. Where's Ski? How about you, man? Where are you going to lean in this game?
So the spread is 9.5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would lean towards taking the points with Minnesota. All of those guys are happy over there now. All of them like playing with each other. They like who they have over there. I think that would be a big number for Toronto to cover. But I kind of like the total more. And I agree with Rob. If Russell is in, I think it's definitely an over game. I think regardless it goes over. But that's the only way I can see. I like over more than the side, over or Minnesota.
All right, over in Minnesota. Where are you going to lane with this here, Finn? Where are you going?
I was doing my updates, my ratings and my ranking updates this weekend in the NBA, and I have this little category. It really doesn't. It's not so significant that I could throw it out here and tell you this. When this team's this, they usually the result is usually that. But everything Minnesota does, every they're bad. Every category, whether they're a favorite, they're bad. If they're an underdog, they lose. If they have the advantage of rest, they're miserable.